Hello and welcome guys to the very first episode of Catia. In today's episode we're going to talk about the toolbars, some of the settings that I feel are good to start off with. We're also going to talk about the planes that we need to use. As you know, Catia is probably one of the world renowned for being one of the best CAD programs out there. So gaining an insight to it will help you do your own projects, and maybe even eventually work freelancing and etc. So this is the toolbar up here. We've got start, and under mechanical design this is what we are mainly going to be using. We're going to be using part design, assembly design and 2D layout for 3D design. These are the first three main points that we need to cover before you can move on to anything else such as shape. Okay, so file, we've got new. We're going to create a new file, so just click new, and under here you want to click on part, click OK. You don't have to name the part because we're not drawing, so just click OK. Keep all the settings exactly the same. Now with this, we will be covering more of these later. We're mainly just going to focus on part at the moment. So that's your file. As you can see, you've got save management, which we're going to cover in a later episode as well, which is important when you're building stuff in an assembly. So you're combining all the parts together. It is important to use save management, not just save it. Under edit, we've got all of these properties. View, we've got toolbars. Toolbars, you don't really need to change many of them. You can add graphic properties, which is good if you've got loads of parts being built. You can change the color of each part, etc. Under insert, we can insert annotations, constraints, but you can do that all from this toolbar here, so you don't really need to worry about that. Under tools, we've got options. Click on options. Now the first thing you want to change is your data save. It's normally set to 30 minutes, I believe. You want to change it to around 10 or 15 at max. Why? Because when you're building a massive part and you've already saved it to start off with, you want to make sure that you've got your files backed up. You want to know that it is saving before, say, you accidentally shut down your computer or anything like that, or if anything goes wrong with the program. So under parameters on the left hand toolbar, we want to click units and keep all of these units the same. Make sure they're exactly the same as these. It's important for when you're, say, measuring the inertia of a product that you've got all of these values, otherwise they can be quite confusing. And then just click OK. Now let's talk about the interface. The interface, we've got part 1 here. Now this is the part that you've just created. So under that part you've got all the planes. As you can see, it gives you a real representation of where you're building. So say if I wanted to build on the XY plane, which is this one here, we can then go into sketch mode, draw something out, and it will build it around this plane here. So it'll build it two-dimensionally across that, and then it's your job to extrude it and pad it to get the shape that you require. This up here is a good representation of where you're building. So say if you've got this upside down and you extrude it upwards, you're obviously building from the middle down, and this is your origin, so it's the center point for where you start all your builds from. So it's a good idea to get used to this and the layout. So you've obviously got the X direction, which is the horizontal, you've got the Y direction, which is the vertical, and you've also got the Z direction because it's a three-dimensional object going up. You've also got part body. Now part body is similar to, say, Photoshop, where you can see all the layers that you've done to that object. So say if I built, I don't know, say if I just drew a square roughly, just like that. Under part body you would have sketch, And under sketch you would have all the constraints. We haven't put any constraints in, but that's something to worry about in the next episode where we'll start sketching. All of these toolbars we will cover later on in later episodes, mainly the next episode where we cover basic sketching and good stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this first tutorial and just getting you set up. Before the next episode, make sure you have a good feel for all the different toolbars, have a look around and just get yourself familiar with Catia. Thank you guys, and see you for the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe and like.